Before we left this whole Chris Smith issue, and we were just talking to the guy who's running against him in New Jersey, Josh Zeitz. Chris Smith is the Republican congressman who's been from that district. I believe he's been winning since 1980. That's an awfully long time that he's been there in New Jersey. And you know, when he back in '80 and when he was first starting out, he was with this group called National Christian Action Coalition. They used to be called Christian School Action. And the New Republic had a story about this. That's what I was talking to Josh about just a little bit. We touched on it. But I wanted to tell you about this group because it's fascinating. You know why they came about in the beginning? It started in 1978, and it really galvanized the religious right. And this isn't about Chris Smith so much because he was on their board and et cetera, but it's a larger story. The story is about how the religious right came about in the first place. Did it always exist? Yes. But as a political movement, it became a lot more solidified in 1978. Why? What happened in 1978? Now, you can say, if you say 1973, it makes more sense, Roe versus Wade, abortion, etc. But no, it doesn't happen until something happens in 78, and then in 79 and 80, they grow bigger. And then you see that Paul Weier speech we actually gave you yesterday, where they say, all right, now let's go out and try to get more votes for us and suppress the votes for the other side. We don't want that many people voting. So this all ties in together. Well, in 1978, Congress passed a law saying, if you are a segregated religious school, you will no longer be tax exempt. You have to follow civil rights legislation. Otherwise, you'll lose your tax exempt status. A lot of these schools were still segregated. They didn't want to allow black kids to come into the white religious schools. And so when Congress said, we're taking your tax exemption aside, they said, oh my God, we can't afford, as Jerry Falwell said, we can't afford not to go into politics. They're going to make us mix with black people. And they're going to take our money away by taking away our tax exemption. So a lot of this, and they had three major issues, and abortion was one of them. And the third one, of course, was discrimination against sodomites. They were, these sodomites, if you throw the mosquito repellent on, maybe you won't get their gay juice, but overall, we got to make sure that gay people can't have the same rights as straight people. Now, they're still holding on to that gay issue, and they're still holding on to pro-choice versus pro-life. Of course, they're on the pro-life side, but they haven't they've let go of the original cause for why the religious right got together in the first place, which is the segregation of the schools and losing their tax exempt status, partly because they lost that battle. Not partly, completely because they lost that battle. They did get their tax exempt status removed until they integrated the schools, and now when it's about the money, they gave up their vaunted principle of making sure that white and black people don't mix. This isn't for all religious people. This is specifically for the religious right. And that is how this came about. So any guy that is connected to this, and Chris Smith was, and he was on the board of some of these organizations, and he took money from them all the way through the 80s, right? And then it became politically inconvenient, so he dumped it. You got to question. You got to question it. And what I like about Josh's campaign against him, and it's joshzeitz.com, is that he's not pulling any punches. Look, he's saying, if you're going to try to make birth control illegal, why shouldn't I run on that? Why should I be embarrassed to say, hey, you know what? This guy's a kook, and he wants to make the birth control pill that almost everyone in the 4th District takes. I mean, come on. My parents live in the 4th District. I've been there for 15 years. Our family has. You know how many women take the birth control pill? Every one of them. And he wants to make that illegal. Well, look, then we can't have you in Congress because you're wrong. You're wrong for the times. You were definitely wrong in the 1980s, and you're still wrong for this day and age. So I like that aggressive, tough campaign that Josh is running, and it's refreshing to see.